for Spencer's family. Will someone please tell us the correct filing status for Spencer's return?
He's got his brother,
Because he supports his
his brother.
is disabled and gets more than half of his support from Spencer.
Excellent. Thank you. Eleanor?
Not because of his
Not that girlfriend, because she started living on the summer.
Well, it's a side point, she's his girlfriend. She can't
Not related.
You're not related.
She's lived with someone for more than a year.
Okay, one thing I
So he can be
want
head
to
of household because he's
point
supporting
out
his
on the
brother.
W-2 is the code DD in box 12. You know this from training, or you will know it from training. That's the codes that show the amount of employer-provided health insurance premiums. So if your client, as you know, for 2014, everyone is required to either have health insurance or meet an exemption, or they're going to pay a individual shared responsibility payment. If your client comes in and tells you that they have employer insurance, this is one way that you can just confirm that information. See if there is a code DD on their W-2 indicating that yes, employer insurance premiums were paid, and the employer paid insurance premiums on behalf of that employee.
So that begs the question, what happens if they come in and say they did,
Well, I mean, we said, it's gonna be like anything else on the tax return. The taxpayer is responsible for the information on there. If they're insistent that they had health insurance, even though their W-2 doesn't reflect that, we explain to them the potential problem, and then they are responsible for what's reported on there. Yes,
Employers with less than 250 employees are not required to do that because of revenue keeping issues. Like our the company I'm a controller for, we're less than 50 employees, but I'm voluntarily going to do that because I know the implications because of this. But
right.
most small employers aren't going to do that. So I just asked them if they work for a small company.
Okay, thank you for that. Did you have another question? Same line? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're then next going to go to the first 1099-R, which is from fund funds. And as you know from reading the scenario, Spencer lost his job in February. He knows he's required to have insurance for 2014, so he decides that rather than wait around to see if he gets another job, he better withdraw some money from his IRA so that he can purchase health insurance in the marketplace. Nope, I'm talking about the wrong one. So, fund funds.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's go, okay, we're on ABC.
That's
No, we're not.
ABC was the annuity, fund funds is the
If you
distribution.
take this out in order to be able to purchase his health insurance. So, as you know, so Spencer is not yet of retirement age.
Yes, he is.
And if you take out a distribution from a retirement fund before you're eligible to do so, the IRS is going to charge you an additional 10% on that amount, in addition to the income tax on it. However, there are some exceptions to that extra 10% charge. And you have, on one of your cheat sheets is on page 6 of your handout. This is a page from the volunteer resource pages. I've printed it here for you so that you have it easily available. But remember, it is on the resource web page, so you can always access it there or refer your volunteers there.
It's on page H2 here.
of the 4012. So those of you who haven't been to tax training yet don't know about the 4012, but this is it. You'll be getting it Monday when you go, and you'll be using this a lot. This and the Pub 17, which we should be receiving sometime this month, will be your Bibles, and you'll carry these with you, have them with you all the time. And Carol, the page number of that is? H2. Thank you. It's like bingo. Page H2 contains the exception codes. All right, and this sheet on page 6 also gives you the procedure for claiming the exception. So what you do is you go to the 1099-R and scroll down just under the boxes 7 and 8. There's a little check box that says check to force form 5329. You check that box, and then that will bring up a 5329 in your tree. You'll notice on this one, there, the early distributions are a total of the 2 1099s, because Spencer got 2 of them. We're only addressing, with this exception, the first one from fund funds. So the early distribution that's not subject to additional tax is the 2596, is that the amount? Yes. The 2596 you enter on line 2. And then that little red line to the left is where you enter the exception code, which in this case is 07. And that's all you have to do.
Recording. Not too many managers didn't show up
Yes, sir.
for.
How do we know that Jordan, he used all of it for insurance premium?
Because he told you that. And so I guess the main thing to remember on this is the little checkbox on the 1099-R form. You have to check that checkbox in order to get the 5329. Okay. We then next have the, I'm not gonna ask you too many questions because we're moving along here. We then have the 1099 from ABC, which does not have the taxable amount of the distribution calculated. So we'll be using the simplified method to determine the taxable portion.
You can't use simplified method until they've reached retirement age. It has to be a code 7.
Oops.
If it's part of a series of substantially equal
Well, we're gonna
payments.
pretend that, we're gonna change the code and pretend
never
that
see
Spencer
that.
really is, of age to
A series
retire.
of substantially equal payments.
Thank you, Mike, for catching that. So for the simplified method, this explanation is also in your 4012, and it's on page D as in dog 23. I don't think I have a separate cheat sheet for that, but you don't need it because it's in the 4012. You scroll down to the bottom of the 1099 where it says simplified method. The cost in the plan at the starting date is provided to you on the form 1099. And I believe it's $730. Then in line 2, just as it says, you're going to check the age bracket in which the primary annuitant is age at the starting date of the annuity. In this particular case, this is just a single annuity, as opposed to being a joint and survivor annuity. So you can either ask your client his age, or you can always go back to the main info sheet, check the date of birth in order to determine his age for clicking the correct,
Shows 55 or
the correct bracket. Spencer, he's actually under 55.
Even though we just
But
changed
we-
his age.
Yeah, we'll just do that. And then you also will need to check the box for the starting date being after 11/18 of 96. And then you scroll down to number 4, the number of months in the tax year for which payments were received. The scenario tells you Spencer started receiving this in about August. So he received the annuity for 5 months in 2014. If your client has been receiving this annuity in previous years, you're also gonna need to enter the amount that he received tax-free in those prior years. Hopefully, he either brought with him his tax return from last year, or we did his tax return and we can pull it up and get that information. Okay? All right, moving on. Spencer gives you a Form K-1. This year we can report